Hi Ma, Pranam sir. So it's immense pleasure I'm standing before you. So when I was 18 years of age, I got an upadesh from of my family member to begin with Navarna mantra. I began with mantra. I started doing the japa malas and all. Then I began with Durga, like Argala Stotram, Siddha Kunjika Stotram, and the Kavacham. After I have been doing it since 2 years. I literally shifted from Ma Durga, and I somewhere around madly in love with Ma Kali. And from that time period, I have been continuously worshipping Ma. And the way I have been looking at her, and I know from my childhood, she's my mother and she loves me and I love her. But in my mind, I'm just like trying to find a guru. So for the first time when I saw you, that time I was 19. Today I'm 23, and in my mind somewhere around I have texted this in my Twitter also that you will be my mentor somewhere around, and I was continuously worshipping. I don't know is I'm delusional or what, but I just know that I am madly in love with Ma, and I just seriously need a person who gonna mentor me and who gonna like help me. I just want to manically worship Ma, and I'm unable to understand as some other people have also said that there is no authenticity these days. But as a person, I'm a reader and I'm not a upasak. I would not consider myself upasak. I'm just a devotee. I just want your guidance, and I just want your guidance, to be honest. Yeah.
So in all the things that you said, all that is fine, all that is correct, all that is good. Only thing that needs to be removed is that XYZ event should happen now. The now has to be removed. So whether Ma Kali is the right devata, whether XYZ individual is your guru or not guru, doesn't matter. If you have the faith, very good. But the point is, all things can happen in the universe if you give it a long enough time. But the moment you try to accelerate things, I want it now, কেন হচ্ছে না এখনো, এতদিন ধরে ভাবছি, nature has a timeline. Nature is not going to accelerate things because of you so easily. So this I keep repeating to people because this is what I have seen in my own life. I have been worshipping Bhairava for more than 20 years now. And of those 20 years, let me tell you, at least 15 years have passed in very boring way. Nothing has happened. And nothing will happen also. It's just the way the path is. Not every day some magic is going to happen. Nothing. But it becomes a part of my process. So every day, even if when I was working, even if in work, there is some work to be completed and I come back at night, 11 o'clock, very tired, still I will sit and complete the sadhana, regardless of whether I have concentration or not. So Ma Kali is very intense. So Ma Kali has two aspects. One is that if you have to do the Tantra Marga Sadhana, you need to have a guru for two reasons. One is that the guru will also teach you the path of sadhana. The path of Ma Kali, traditional Tantra Puja has a certain paddhatis. So that it's not difficult actually. In fact, I've asked my team, we will be making certain documents on those also in coming times, both for simple Ma Tara Puja, Ma Kali and Ma Kamakhya Puja. How to do that simply. We have already made some Ghatastapana documents for Ma Durga and others, etc. But all that aside, the important thing is that do not be in a hurry. So if you have faith on her, if you think that she is your devata, no problem. Carry on the sadhana and do not jump to complicated processes. So one caveat with Ma Kali is that do not experiment with any kind of cremation ground sadhana. That is risky. Unless you know what you're doing, unless you have a way to protect yourself. That is step number one. Number two, with Bhakti Bhava, you can worship Ma Kali, no problem. Bengal we have a vibrant culture of Ma Kali. I tell people, so Ma Kali has complications also, by the way. There are, these days, in the era of the internet, all sorts of Ma Kali pictures I see, and I only get scared. Okay, what has they made? So, in the form of Kali, God knows what people are worshipping. But for safety purposes, the form of Ma in Dakshineshwar, the form of Ma in Kalighat, are very good for spiritual progress. Very, very good. There has to be that sense of symmetry in our. See, there is an art in making the Vigraha. How it is made, how her face looks, how she stands, the painting, the aesthetics, it's very important. Very important. So these two are, in my opinion, very simply, very good to connect with these two. If somebody thinks that Mahakali is the main Devata. Along with it, what you can do is you chant the Adya Stotram, or even I had given one sadhana with the first line of the Argala Stotram. That line connects you to Kali very strongly. And that line is basically different names of Mahakali. It's very powerful. There is no Diksha needed for that. Nothing is needed. I know I had given this similarly, one individual I know that person for long, 10 years now. And she used to get dreams of initiation from me and all that. And I used to laugh it off. Not happening, not in 100 years. Aram said, oh, dreams are dreams only. I can also have so many dreams. What is there? So eventually, but I got some instruction that initiation has to be given. And this happened between the dream and the initiation. It took almost, I think, 7-8 years. There's no hurry. I am not in a hurry. The moment I see somebody in a hurry, say tata bye bye. So then I had made her do this sadhana of this mantra. She had such terrific experiences. She lives far off, but when I sit for my puja and the people who I actually guide, I can understand what is happening in their sadhana, what type of energy is coming. Just that her concentration and bhava was so strong. Simple names of Kali, just the first line of the Argala Stotram, anybody in the world can do. Anybody, because these are just names and they are so powerful, so powerful, so powerful. If you just keep focusing on that, if you keep doing sadhana, you will progress. Remove time from the equation, focus on Ma Kali, and the right time she will give you whom you need to reach and where you need to reach and what diksha you need. That's all there is. Do not be in a hurry. No need to run after anybody. When you are ready, nature herself or himself will give you the path.
My name is Anupama Chatterjee and I'm from Siliguri. I came here just to meet you today. Thank you very much for your question time. So today, in the context of what you said regarding detachment and being in a state of happiness, when we see as it also mantras bring us more towards kindness and compassion. And when we see so much cruelty, animals, human beings, so much, it's very difficult for us. And I see in my progress, as I'm seeing, lines are becoming more and more blurred. Like I don't have a yes and no to things anymore. So that's becoming very confusing in my life. And so when we see animal cruelty, human cruelty, so many things. Now as I am a little bit close to Bhairava Baba also, I do a little bit of animal help work also. It's not possible for me to help all human beings, all animals. So sometimes it brings a state of deep grief or sadness also when I'm not being able to help so many people and to stay in that stage of detachment and be happy. So that's the first question. Second question is in terms of partners. So who I have as my life partner, I cannot control their karmas. So how much does the karmas of my life partner or my parents affect me, and how can I progress without being dependent on that?
First question was animal compassion. So there is no solution to that. So not just for compassion, but for everything else, detachment is one of the last things that comes. If you get detachment on day one, then you don't need to come here only. Then you are already there. Detachment is what comes very end. Detachment is a byproduct. Detachment is not something that will come by saying detachment chahiye. It will not come like that. So detachment comes at a very later point of sadhana. It is not so easy unless somebody is very special. There is no point in being disturbed by it. What you can do practically, however, is when you are doing your sadhana, you can, not every day, if not every day, then maybe on weekends, on days you have time, write a diary. All these thoughts that you have, you put it to Bhairava. Like a letter you write to Bhairava. Only thing is that, and this is something anybody can do, by the way. Only thing is that you write down whatever you have to write, but ensure that nobody else can read it. So you have to keep it in a safe place maybe in your puja altar or somewhere where nobody else is going to open and see, whatever things that bother you. If you keep writing it down and if you keep doing this practice regularly along with your sadhana, over time, there is some amount of detachment that will come, or a perspective will come. Perspective leads to detachment. This is question number 1. What was question number 2? Oh, okay. So you are anyway, the moment, see, there are few drira karmas that we have. One is the family you were born in, parents. Number 2, whosoever you have a relationship with, very strong karma. These cannot be avoided. Neither should you bother too much about it, in the sense that you will not be able to change their karmas or anything. What you can do practically is just keep doing a sadhana and let the deity, whomever you're worshipping, Bhairava Baba, at the right time, let him balance out the karmas as needed. So it is not your headache to find, like a chessboard, how much karma is coming from which side and how do I balance it. You will never be able to do that. What you can do is you can worship Bhairava and put it at his feet. Number 3, Devi Kavach. So here is the thing. If you have, once a person has Diksha, the traditional idea is that all sadhanas are done with the permission of the Guru. General principle is that. Which is why I say that even for, because Diksha is very easy these days. It's very, very easy. So before one goes to have Diksha, you must consider these things, whether the right place, whether it gels with your practice, etc. Many things are there. It's not proper for me to say one way or the other, but Devi Kavach is fine to do generally. But regarding, see, this is the thing. If you take Diksha, it is also possible that the Guru whom you take Diksha, the place where you take Diksha, may not want you to do Bhairava sadhanas. And it is a very common thing that I've seen. Why? Because Bhairava Upasana is not at all common. Kali Upasana is common, but Bhairava we have left behind in 13th century. That's what I've seen. Unfortunately, across India. I mean, the last remnant of Bhairava Upasana very strongly used to happen in Kashmir and in Bengal also, where the Shivacharyas used to be there. But after that, it has kind of various historical factors, not going into all that. So Bhairava Upasana is very much relegated. Even when Kali Sadhana is being done, even Kamakhya, I go there almost every 2-3 months. It's one of my favorite places in the whole universe. Everybody knows how to do Mahakali Puja, Tara, Bagalamukhi, this, that. But Bhairav, immediately there is a fear. Oh, it's very dangerous. Once in Tarapit Smashan, I was sitting and doing a homa, and there are 2 sadhus sitting at the back and discussing some philosophy. And I'm putting houses and I'm listening to the conversation. So one guy is giving gyan to another guy, and he's telling ki, অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমরা মায়ের পুজো করি, মা খুব ভালো, মাকে বললেই মা মেনে নেয়, তো বাবা বললেই এক চড় মারবে, ঠিক আছে। অ্যান্ড আই এম ডুইং আ ভৈরব হোমা, মামা बैठ के पीछे बैठ के, and I felt like laughing. My experience with Bhairava Baba is very different. He is kathor on the outside, but is very compassionate, provided you are truthful. If you are trying to cheat yourself, you can't cheat him, nobody can cheat him. But if you try to cheat yourself, if you are delusional, then he's going to spank you. And his idea is that he wants to make you comfortable with reality. Start living inside your skin. Don't live in a fantasy world. Reality is what is. Reality is that which you cannot change just by wishing away. Reality is that which will be there even after you wake up in the morning. So learn to live with it. And next step, learn to live with it happily. Your half the job is done. This is first principle of Bhairava. In fact, in many cultures where Bhairava Upasana is very strong, in Nepal, somebody was telling me, they do a sadhana where they do a process. They used to do, I've heard this, that all the Bhairavas, Kal Bhairav, Vatuk Bhairav and the other Bhairavas are placed. And if there is a conflict, if somebody has a problem or somebody, say 2 people are having jhagda, then they will put there and they will do puja and they will ask Bhairava for his justice. Whoever is lying will immediately get struck with some problems in the next month or so, etc. Bhairava exactly behaves like this. He loves truth above everything else. 3 principles we hear in the Upanishads, which even in the realm of, in the context of Shiva also we hear. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Okay. Or the Brahman we say that is Satchidananda. 3 things, 3 properties of the ultimate reality. That Sat is Satyam, which means reality. To be as it is. You don't project your ideas. There is no narrative. There is no background story needed. that which is at this very moment. In acceptance of that is the first principle, is Satyam. Sat Chit Ananda. Chit is Shakti. That is where the domain of Shakti comes in. And Ananda is almost where the bliss that comes in when these two are together. So the important point is that in Bhairava Sadhana in general also, it is very important to have that state of complete honesty with him.
On your first podcast many years ago, you had mentioned that guru is very important and diksha is important. So while I couldn't find a guru, I took initiation from an institution that represents Dakhira Kali. You might understand I'm not taking any names here. But is it possible to do Devi Kavacha or Bhairav Mantra or all the mantras by taking initiation from such organizations also?
Devi Kavach, yeah, ultimately, so that is the thing. If you're going into sadhana, if you take diksha from a lot of different places, Eastern India, even though there's a lot of Tantra sadhana, there is a general fear of Bhairava that I have seen. I have nothing to comment on that, except that I worship Bhairava. Anybody who worships Bhairava, I will tell him to worship Bhairava. But if you take diksha, the traditional idea is you have to ask the guru. And that is why I say never rush into diksha. Diksha is like a marriage. So before marriage happens, traditionally what happens, you go meet the family, you meet 10 generations of the family, aas-paas mein kaun rehta, wo that also you meet, God knows how many things are there. So diksha is like that. You see the guru, you see the shishyas, you see who else has been there, what is the practices they are doing, etc. And then you see that, does it gel with what I do? Does it work out? Should I go in? Should I not go in? That's how it should be ideally. But there's no harm in doing Bhairava Upasana, absolutely no harm. And in fact, if you have been doing Bhairava Upasana, it is good. It already Bhairava Upasana gels with you. You should carry on. As a specific advice for you, it will be good for you. You won't be able to leave it. So that's the thing. Even if you stop, you'll still see some reactions that will push you back into Bhairava Sadhana.
First of all, Jai Ma Tara, Jai Bhairava Baba, and Jai Ma Kamakhya. Please accept my pranam. My name is Anirudh Nath. So basically, by the grace of Bhagavati, I have been doing sadhana, doing Matri sadhana for last few years under the guidance of my guru. And basically, my question is regarding the Nitya Upasanas that we are supposed to do. For me, it takes a few hours every day. Along with that, I am also an IT professional, so I have to balance my work as well as my Nitya Upasanas. Initially, it was a bit difficult for me, but as the mantrakrama grew and my sadhana also intensified, although currently I'm doing work from home, so it's a bit easier for me to balance. In future, the ultimate goal is that I have this strong desire that to leave my work and invest full time into that. But since I have some obligations towards my family as well as some financial obligations, I also have some material desires as well. Is it something that we should completely leave up to our ishtas, or should we take some actions so that we can invest more time in our Nitya Upasanas? Since you have also mentioned in your podcast that you are also a lateral joiner in this sadhana path, so you were also working before. If you could just let us know from your personal experience how it would work. And I have one second question. If you could shed some light in Tantra Upasana, there is in like Jaganath, Balarama, Subhadra, they are also worshipped in the form of Dakshina Kali, Tripura Sundari and Matara. So if you could just shed some light on that, what is the significance behind that? So, thank you.
First question is very easy. It's not in your hands anyway. So there's nothing you can do. So it is not leaving everything and doing sadhana, or not leaving everything and doing sadhana along with other karmas. It is entirely dependent on the upasaka's destiny, and you will not be able to force it. So yeah, I have worked for many years, different places, Bangalore, Bombay, Pune, again Bangalore, Delhi, various places. So here is the thing. When I was working, I did not have that idea that I'm going to leave and that this life will come. So I was not even looking for that. What I did though practically, I was kind enough to have some very good bosses So I had some. So I used to tell them that it's okay, you don't give me a promotion or raise, that's fine. But when I need, you need to give me leaves. And those days, work from home was not that common. So I remember I had the equation was nice. So he had given me a VPN and all that. And I had stayed near Puri once I was working in Bombay. And I used to complete my work, whatever time it used to take, and then do my sadhana. There was no thought that I'm going to leave this and suddenly tomorrow I'm going to turn into something different. So my philosophy of life has been, and that scares many people. It used to scare my professors in college as well, that I take one day at a time. I have no future plans. I have no plans tomorrow what is going to happen, day after what is going to happen. So I'm working with the creation of the Bhairava temples. There's a lot of things, activities going on, going to different places. When they started, then some of the people who were very close to me had asked, how this is like a huge thing, how this will happen? How this will happen, where this thing will come from, that thing will come from, this will happen. I am not interested in all that. My role is to worship the devatas whom I worship with absolute 100% sincerity. It is their role. So they put the idea, they put me in a situation to do XYZ thing. It is their role to provide the circumstances that is necessary. If they are not providing the circumstances, that means that they do not want me to do XYZ thing. That's how I look at it. So leaving things in future or not, and more importantly, a greater role in this will be, so if you have Diksha, you have to ask your Guru. That is the first principle. That's what I say. If you have Diksha, you should ask your Guru. But generally, ideas of leaving everything and all that is mostly lazy thinking, in my opinion. And it's good to have this kind of thoughts. Like I remember when I used to work weekends, used to sit with my friends and we'd be very sure that by Monday we are all resigning, but I'm back to office. So that's okay. Don't bother about all that. Keep doing your sadhana. Find a balance. Find that very sweet spot between where you complete your work and you complete your sadhana. Reduce the sadhana. How much of a sadhana you have to do, how much work, that you have to figure out. I cannot say because I don't know your life fully. So that, and then you have some enjoyment also, and let that carry on. It's like that car which is going at a very steady pace in the highway. No jhatkas are needed, no need to accelerate the pace, no need to reduce the pace. If anything needs to be changed, nature will change it. That is the idea you should believe. And the other question, so it is believed that Lord Jaganath, Lord Balaram and Subhadra are on the yantras of 3 Mahavidyas. Now, I have heard this also. People have sent me slokas also. I can neither confirm nor deny. I have been to Jagannath Puri few times. I had some very nice experiences in Jagannath Puri and some karma cleansing experiences with the priests there. But it's very, very. My first Ma Tara sadhana mantra. In fact, there was a specific mantra of Mahatara which had come to me in a dream. And the dream repeated again multiple times. And it was very forceful. The dream was not an ordinary dream. There are those dreams you wake up and you feel that it was real. It was not a dream, as if you were there at the time. And after that, I had visited Puri Jagannath. And those days, they used to allow people to circumambulate, to go inside, do pradakshina of Lord Jagannath. These days, I don't think they allow. Those days they used to allow. But with the lot of the priests and all that asking for money and all that thing going on, I remember I did pradakshina and I was standing there and I felt a very strong, like a command from the presence of the Devata that you should start this mantra right there. So my first time I ever chanted Matara mantra was inside the Garbhagriha of Jagannath Puri and felt very powerful. And then many things happened after that. And then, of course, my gurus also gave me some more instructions. But so these things are there. Jagannath, only thing I know is that you can look at him as Bhairava, you can look at him as Kali, you can look at him as Shiva, you can look at him as Surya, or you can look at him as Brahman, you can look at him as Krishna. Any form, he's equally capable of taking the devotion, the mantra and the bhava of the Upasaka. That much is very sure. I know that because after doing japa there, I had some more experiences which I cannot share, but that is the basic thing. So, if you're looking for a very scriptural answer that I cannot provide, whether actually they do worship him, the priests worship him as Mahakali or not, that also I do not know. because whenever I've gone as an ordinary devotee. These days too, I haven't gone for long. I only go to Kamakhya. But yeah, that is there.
जय भैरव बाबा,
जय
जय माँ तारा, जय माँ कमला। सबसे पहले गुरु जी को मेरा सत सत प्रणाम। और मैं बहुत ही धन्यवाद हूँ कि मैं 1 साल से आपका इंतज़ार कर रहा था और मैं हर अमावस्या में तारापीठ जाता हूँ। तो मैं माँ से कहा कि सर से एक बार ज़रूर मिलना है, तो मेरा काम हुआ कि आपसे मिला, इसके लिए बार धन्यवाद। सर ऐसा है कि साधना तो मैं 1 साल से कर रहा हूँ भैरव बाबा का, और बटुक भैरव जी का भी चालू किया हूँ अभी। और तारापीठ के बगल में भी घर है मेरा, पाकुड़ में। तो बट बाधा मेरे जीवन में बहुत आती है साधना में। कहीं भी जाता हूँ तो मेरा एक काम है, उस काम में मेरे को बहुत झमेला होता है। तो जैसे मैं बटुक भैरव बाबा को याद करता हूँ तो मेरा काम हो जाता है। तो जैसे कि उसमें क्या है कि मेरे को बाहर घूमना पड़ता है बहुत, तो मैं क्या मूर्ति जो है प्रभु की, भैरव बाबा की, माँ तारा की, लेके जा सकता हूँ हर जगह? वही मेरा प्रश्न।
माँ तारा साधना आप जो करते हैं, आपका दीक्षा है या आपका?
नहीं, आपका जो,
अच्छा, वो ठीक है।
हाँ, और भैरव बाबा का जो मूल मंत्र है,
हाँ,
वो
तो
हाँ।
एकदम से दिस क्वेश्चन आई विल आंसर इन हिंदी। तो एकदम से पहला चीज है कि वटुक भैरव का साधना सबके लिए अच्छा है। इस कलयुग में ये एक तरह से रामबाण का कह सकते हो आप। वटुक भैरव का अगर कृपा किसको मिल गया तो 80% 90% आपका लाइफ का प्रॉब्लम एक बैलेंस में आ जाएगा। जितना भी कठिन हो, कुछ ना कुछ दिक्कतें जो भी हो, थोड़ा सा इसमें रिलीफ तो 100% आता है वटुक भैरव में। आई हैव नेवर सीन वटुक भैरव साधना फेल। और अभी भी रिसेंटली कुछ मैं वटुक भैरव का विशेष कर ही रहा था, क्योंकि वटुक भैरव जयंती भी आ रहा है
जी।
तो वटुक भैरव ऐसा देवता है जो बहुत तुरंत काम करते हैं। लेकिन एक चीज़ है, भैरव स्वरूप है, इसीलिए ऑनेस्टी बहुत ज़रूरी है। यानी आप अगर खुद कुछ गलती कर रहे हो और वटुक भैरव को बोल रहे हो कि मुझे ये चीज़ काम करवा दो, ये थोड़ा सा हेल्प कर दो, तो बाबा नहीं करेंगे। और दूसरा है कि बाल स्वरूप है, बाल स्वरूप में इमोशंस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो आपको इमोशनल कांटेक्ट होना ज़रूरी है वटुक भैरव के साथ, सिर्फ मंत्र जप से नहीं होता है। यानी आप सामने अब बैठ जाइए, बाबा के विग्रह के सामने आप बैठेंगे तो वो वटुक भैरव का आप साधना करेंगे, वटुक भैरव का आप जो भी आपका डिफिकल्टी है, एज लॉन्ग एज इट इज धार्मिक, रिलीफ आपको मिलेगा। वटुक भैरव से रिलीफ या तो खुद वटुक भैरव रिलीफ खुद कर देते, नहीं तो ही विल शो यू कि कैसे आ सकता है रिलीफ, किसको पूजना पड़ेगा, कहाँ जाना पड़ेगा, ये भी आ जाता है। मैं ऐसा भी इंस्टेंस देखा हूँ कि वटुक भैरव बहुत प्रॉब्लम में, किसी ने वटुक भैरव का जप किया, बहुत सीवियर जप किया, तो सपने में आके भी कभी वटुक भैरव बता देते हैं कि ये करना ज़रूरी है, ये करना ज़रूरी है, ऐसे करके। और दूसरा बात है कि वटुक भैरव के ऊपर ज़्यादा ध्यान दीजिए। अगर आपको लग रहा है कि बहुत डिफिकल्टी कुछ आ रहा है तारा साधना में डिफिकल्टी नहीं आएगा। माँ तारा का नेचर थोड़ा अलग है। एक बार एनर्जी इफ इट जेल्स विथ यू, वो 16 थर्सडे वाला जो माँ का जो है, वो मैं बोलता हूँ कि एकाधिक बार करना चाहिए। और वो ऐसा है कि वो मैं खुद भी करता हूँ, आई ऑल्सो डू दैट। सो ऑन थर्सडेज मैं सिर्फ आई जस्ट हैव लिक्विड, आई डोंट हैव एनी सॉलिड फूड। मैं सुबह उठ के, आज 4 बजे उठ के मैं माँ तारा का जितना पूजा है सब खत्म करके, क्योंकि आज आना था यहाँ पे, तो फिर मैं चालू करता हूँ। और मेरे पास विग्रह भी है, यंत्र भी है माँ का, ये सब पूजा में टाइम भी लगता है, तो एकाधिक तरह का पूजा होता है माँ का इत्यादि। बट वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि वो आपको अल्टीमेटली लॉन्ग टर्म में वो आपको बहुत फ़ायदा करेगा, आध्यात्मिक फ़ायदा और मटेरियल फ़ायदा भी, ये दोनों चीज़ें। लेकिन मटेरियल फ़ायदा माँ का भी यही है कि उग्र स्वरूप है माँ का, लेकिन वो कर्म को, जैसे आपका कर्म है उसके हिसाब से शी विल डू दिस थिंग्स। सो दैट इज वाई ऐसे कि वो एकाधिक बार वो करना चाहिए साधना, छोड़ना नहीं है। 1 बार नहीं, 2 बार 3 बार आप करते रहिए, और स्लोली स्पिरिचुअल प्रोग्रेस बहुत अच्छा होता है उसमें। अच्छा, दूसरा बात है, इमीडिएट रिलीफ किसी को चाहिए तो दैट इज वेयर वटुक भैरव इज बेस्ट। बट रिमेंबर वन थिंग, एंड दिस आई कीप टेलिंग एवरीबडी, दुनिया में ऐसा कोई देवता नहीं है, ऐसा कोई मंत्र नहीं, ऐसा कोई प्रयोग नहीं, ऐसा कोई सिस्टम नहीं है जिससे तुरंत के तुरंत सब प्रॉब्लम गायब हो सकता है। वो तो संभव ही नहीं है। वो तो भगवान राम, भगवान कृष्ण, दे ऑल्सो हैड टू फेस डिफिकल्टीज। वी आर ऑर्डिनरी पीपल, वी विल ऑल्सो फेस डिफिकल्टीज। बट कुछ एक सेम्बलेंस, एक एनर्जी आएगा ऐसे कि आप, इट विल बी ईजियर फॉर यू। ये है इंपॉर्टेंट। दूसरा बात है, विग्रह अगर है तो, अभी मैं एक विग्रह रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आंसर कर ही रहा था। हाँ, विग्रह सेवा तो करना पड़ेगा। फिर विग्रह आप लेके आए तो या तो आप कैरी करके लेके चलिए साथ में, और यू पुट समबडी टू डू द पूजा एंड सेवा ऑफ द विग्रह। ये इंपॉर्टेंट है। माँ तारा का विग्रह के लिए ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। बाबा फिर भी थोड़ा वटुक भैरव को जो है ना, वटुक भैरव को भक्ति से थोड़ा भी पूजा जा सकता है। माँ तारा का थोड़ा पद्धति, मिनिमम पद्धति इज रिक्वायर्ड। सो दैट इज वाई हाँ, विग्रह में थोड़ा सेवा करना बेटर है।
My name is Priyansh. So, two questions. One is related to death, and the other is related to truth. So, you mentioned that death is ultimate, the final truth, and the final fear also, from which all the fears stem from. My particular situation is that I am extremely death aware to the point that I know I can like keep this mic and I don't know, like a heart attack can come, and I'm very fine with that. Also, it's like it has me at peace. Yet other problems and other situations in life also come which are like stressors. But when I think deeply about them, it's like a play, right? It's like I am deluding myself into actually worrying about those things, even though they are not worrying like worthwhile. So that is something I would want to know your thoughts on.
What was the first question? I forgot.
Sir, the first question was that death awareness is
Death awareness. And then, where was the question mark?
So the question mark was like, why am I pretending to be fearful of stress when I'm actually not at the end of the day?
So, two things, if I understand you correctly. So there is either you are impacted by stress or you are not impacted by stress. Two realities are possible. And this only you can answer yourself. Are you impacted or are you not impacted? So if you're not impacted by stress, then there is no question. It's all wonderful. There's nothing to ask. Perfect. But if you're impacted by stress, then first thing is that to accept that, okay, this thing impacts me, whatever it is. I still have a solid fear of flying. Though I take almost 2 or 3 flights every month because I have to go to so many places. But that is what it is. So it's okay. The first is acceptance of things as they are. No need to fight it. No need to think that it is going to vanish. Number 2, how does this change? This change comes, the reason why one has to do a spiritual practice is that because these things are due to accumulated karmas from past. So these are reactions. 90% of our life is reaction from past. Just to resolve that only, we need to do sadhanas. And by sadhana, I do not mean only worshipping these deities. So I'm sure there are people here who may or may not be worshipping these 4 devatas or connected to the sadhanas that I mentioned. Generally also others. If you're doing whatever path you're doing, whether you're meditating, you're practicing yoga, you're doing bhakti, nam, sankirtana, something like that, etc., etc. Whatever you're doing. So that helps to reduce the overplay of karmas. Once that overplay of karmas reduces, automatically stress reduces. All the negative reactions that we get, positive also by the way, but negative is what bothers us more. Negative reactions is a reaction to things that have already happened in past. Nature is a very good accountant. But nature has this beauty that it takes into account what you're doing at this moment. So if you are trying to change things, whether it is through any kind of practice, so nature does a balancing equation immediately. Best accountant in the world, instant balancing it does and sees that, oh, okay, he has done enough amount of sadhana or meditation or whatever it is. And therefore that fear that used to be there or the stress that he was feeling for XYZ thing did not affect him anymore. And then suddenly you will see that it is not affecting. So one is that trying to fight stress, that works up to a point, not beyond that, and depends on people, not being judgmental. Different people have different kind of karmas. So it is not so simple as saying that I just wish it away, it will not go away. But that is where sadhana becomes important, because sadhana removes those blockages over time and changes the person. If a sadhana is not changing you, then what is the use of that sadhana? Eventually, that is the goal. And second thing, truth is a very complicated business. Okay. So in the world of duality, there is always some truth which is, except for maybe 2 + 2 = 4, but even that can change if you change the mathematics a bit. But point is, it is all right to believe that I need to be truthful. What one should avoid is trying to make that as the gold standard for everybody around. That will not work. That is So you are given domain over yourself. Anybody else, friend, howsoever close friend, this, that, etc., they have their own karmas, they have their own processes. And your role may not be to try and change them. Very important, whether you believe in truth or whether you believe in compassion or whether this, you should attain to a mental state where you can see the truth in all of these things and the flaw in all of these things and be attached to none of these things. That is where detachment comes in. So it is crucial to, it's fine to have a belief that one has to be truthful, but truth itself, if one becomes very philosophical, in a world of the duality, there is no complete truth. In fact, the ultimate truth is when one reaches that state of the Brahman. Then it sees, suddenly they see that all these conflicts, whether there is some crime happening here, somebody is untruthful, somebody this, that, all these frictions get resolved because you see things that you cannot imagine and things fall into perspective. Perspective is the one thing, our human nature is this way, we are looking for a story. All the time there is a story. What is the story behind it? Why is it happening? That why makes us jump into narratives in the head. There's a process going on because this has happened, that has happened. But if you remove that, if you remove the judgment process and accept things as they are, accept that the world is not fair, accept that there are most of us are not truthful, accept that there is pain, accept that there is suffering, and accept that you cannot do anything about it. Then comes next steps. That acceptance, I have seen, is a great resolution to a lot of problems in sadhana, specifically if somebody is doing Bhairava sadhana. Bhairava sadhana, first rule is accept reality as it is. Change reality or not, you are not Kalki avatar. Okay. At best, you can try and change 10 people around you. That too, they will fight with you. Your mood will go off. So better everybody does what they do. Don't bother about the fight. Be honest, be truthful, be dharmic. Put it out. Don't bother with the criticism. That thick skin attitude has to be taken. So that's the only solution to this.
Sir, my question is to the scholar in you. Sir, in this land, we have so many Shakti Peethas and so many Pavan Mandirs. Yet, we faced historical, exodus time and time again. And our boundaries got redacted again and again. So, as a student, I'm asking you, sir, what was the reason for that? Even after all the protections and all the Shakti Peethas.
So this question comes up very often. First thing is that nobody has a 100% clear answer. Everybody can give some speculative answer. So I will give you what I think about it. I am not claiming that this is the only correct answer or not correct answer. And this is from the spiritual perspective. So not just in our part of India, or the western part of India where we had partition to clear places. If you go very far, then the Vedic culture, the Vedic religion had its spread right up to Central Asia also. We have enough evidence of that. But over time that has gone. So there are two things. One is that civilizations and everything else, less like human life, civilizations come, they go to a peak, they come to a point and then it falls. The nature of the fall, why exactly is this falling, what is the spiritual reason for this fall, that is a matter of debate. But yes, anything that has a peak will someday or the other come down. This is the reality of existence here. On a practical point of view, I feel that over time, at various historical changes that happened around between 9th, 10th century to 10th or 12th, 13th century, 2-3 things happened. One is that from spiritual point of view, the upasana of the Kshetrapala reduced itself tremendously. Today, and I have spoken of this earlier also, if you have seen my earlier videos, you might have seen, in 1940, so the India that we have today is structured in 1947 by the laws, by the constitution, by etc. that come. And we have problems in every single border, whether it's north, whether it's east, whether it's west. Very simply put, if you have problems on the borders of an area, so Kshetra is an area. Kshetrapala is somebody who protects that area. Spiritually, the reduction in the Bhairava Upasana and the other thing that happened around the same time, perhaps a little earlier, which there is no clear answer to why it happened, but it did happen. there is to be a lot of worship of the form of Skanda or Kartikeya, who was even in Bengal side also, who was the god of war. And it suddenly reduced and vanished almost throughout India. And only in Tamil Nadu you find it today. Almost. Baki, little places in South India, but almost. In Bengal also it happens in some pockets, but not as prominently as it might have happened earlier. In fact, in Tarapit, I think the priests do specific Kartik Pujo once a year. I've seen that. Regardless, so these changes were as if nature had decided that now there has to be a decline in this civilization for whatever reasons, karmic reasons and all that. And that decline, I mean, even if you do a Google, simple Google, you will find out that his Upasana, he was very popular across North in Kings and other places, and it got suddenly reduced. And today, even in South, when the sadhana is done of Skanda, it's more in the bhakti mode sadhana is done. There are certain mantras of his astra. The veil that he carries is an astra. The astra has mantras. If you invoke that, it's extremely potent, extremely powerful. I've seen how it works, its results. There is to be formation of sadhana where Kartikeya, along with the Ashtamatrikas, just like today we worship Ashtamatrikas in the Parivara of Devi, we worship Ashtamatrikas along with Bhairava also. Kartikeya is to be worshipped along with Ashtamatrikas. There is to be the Navaviras, various other configurations are there. All that has reduced into more of a bhakti mode. So these changes, at a very philosophical level, these changes are that upstairs nature decides that there might have been some corruption internally. Because I like to believe that nothing of this sort would have happened unless there was some internal corruption. And when I say internal corruption, I cannot pinpoint and tell you that this is the internal corruption. It could be anything. See, day before I was seeing the news, there is that news came out of a huge amount of financial scam that has happened in the Ram temple. I have gone to the biggest temples in India, Puri, Kalighat, even Kamakhya, Vindhyachal. The way they loot people in front of the deity, it is to be absolutely shameless. I mean, there is no word to tell you. There is somebody sitting here, suddenly, I have seen that in Kashi many times, I will not tell the temple. Suddenly they will say, I have taken a sankalpa of 5,000 rupees in your name, and guilt trip the person to pay the money. This is the biggest adharma. If the priest who is supposed to take care of the devata is corrupted, then how long will the devata protect you? One day they will say, the deity, if you believe in the deity, will say that enough is enough. I am withdrawing my force from there. Because the deity is finally in the transcendental plane. He is not just in the temple. In each of the Kali Vigrahas, there is some little bit of Mahakali's energy is there. But the real Mahakali is there, some other plane. So for her, it hardly makes a difference if one temple goes off, another goes off. How does, even if the earth vanished, they will still exist. So their job is to maintain dharma of that place. The moment this type of corruption is allowed freely for long period of time, I'm not saying this is what has happened. I don't know what has happened. I was not there at that time, or even if I was there, I don't remember it. But there is some internal corruption that happened. And that corruption weakened various things. And today we end up in a situation where this country, every single border of this country has a problem. And there is no resolution to the problem. It's only going to increase over the way things are going. Next 10, 15 years, you will see dramatic things. Be prepared for wars and all that things. Everything is coming. Karbas do not get resolved just by wishing it away. But from a practical point of view, what I believe is that, and I'm very happy for that there are so many people who do Bhairava sadhana. This whole japa of Bhairava that happened was very organic. Apart from the 8 Bhairava temples, there are other places also where we provide Bhairava vigrahas, and not just vigrahas, how to do pujo of what are the paddhatis. Paddhatis is also lost. 90% places, I mean, there is a very famous Bhairava temple in Kashi. I was in conversation, there are Ashtabhairavas are there in Kashi and Kalbhairava, one of the Bhairava temples. So they're not aware of the paddhatis because the paddhatis has been lost. It's just like, ektu kichu bhog diye dilam, ektu deep jali dilam, ektu ghantabaji dilam. That is fine, but there is something more. The more you do, the more you engage with the right paddhati, the more the energy of Bhairava comes there. And Bhairava comes, he is bound to protect that space. First thing that he does is Kshetrapala, his automatic duty. I mean, this will sound interesting to you when I mean, those of you who are aware, 2-3 years ago, I had, me and a couple of people, we had filed a court case regarding the Kamakhya corridor. Because at that time, the plan of the corridor was such that it would have 100% damaged the Kshetra. When I wanted to file the case, pretty much everybody around me ran away. Because court, people are very scared. It's a long story short. is that when that came to me as an instruction I had to do, I was very sure I have to do it. There was a lot of resistance, many things happened. Not cribbing and crying about it, but the instruction was very clear from Ma Kamakhya ki ei jinishta korte hobe. So gathering people, gathering lawyers, running around, going to Delhi, going to Guwahati, filing the case, every A to Z, what had to be done was done. And finally the Guwahati High Court gave an order that no construction can damage the springs of Ma Kamakhya, which is the main source of its power. What exactly is this activity? This is Kshetrapala. Protection of the Kshetra. Who gave me this inspiration? Even I don't know. I have been doing Bhairava Sadhana for 20 years. People around me who helped me in this, they have been doing Bhairava Sadhana for years now. It is Bhairava who suddenly decides that this has to be protected. He chooses the right person. He chooses somebody or the other. He puts the thought, he puts the inspiration, he puts the adesha ki go and get this done. A lot of resistance had happened, but eventually it happened. When ja korbar seta to holo, we could file the case and we were able to make sure that the government takes the help of IITs and others, because they had no plan. They had just made a plan without taking into account the water flow. That is not done, because ekbar damage hoye gele, it is everybody's loss. And I don't even blame one government, by the way. All governments in India work in this way a little bit. So you have to be alert, you have to do that. So this Kshetrapala duty is Bhairava's. Moment Bhairava energy increases, Kshetrapala ka, the protection of the Kshetra is automatically going to go up, invariably. So I cannot say with surety why it happened, but I am very confident how it can be stopped in future.
I am Ritoja. I want to share that you are the first inspiration to come to this spirituality. And I don't know, I started following you from 2022. And I really don't know how it happened, but last year I took my Sanskaram Diksha. Now I am a devotee and upasak of Mata. I mean, doing Dasamahavidya practice. My question is, though I have to take, of course, permission from my guru, but initial, you are the guru. I following you, and coming Ambubachi time, is that good to start a anushtanam like japa or like the Purascharan of my mantra? Is that okay, or there will be consequences on that time if I started like I'm doing my sadhana every day?
Okay, so this is the last question I'll take, and very interesting. This is on Ambubachi. Very good. Ambubachi is a very, very powerful time. But remember one thing, Ambubachi is powerful if you are connecting to Ma Kamakhya. If that connection is not there, then it is just another 4 days. It makes no difference. So for people, I say that people who have been following me or the sadhanas that I give, I recommend people to chant the Kamakhya Stotram. It is also very powerful. Do not be mistaken that it is not a mantra. Kamakhya Stotram can do miracles. In fact, many of these people whom I guide, I have made them do Kamakhya Stotram Anushtan also. 1000 recitations with Sankalpa and all that various things, many of these people. It is extremely potent. If you are connecting to Ma Kamakhya, or if you have a connection to the sadhanas that I give, because I do Ma Kamakhya sadhana, without her sadhana, I don't step out of the house every day. Then it is, these 4 days is not the time to start any Anushtan. These 4 days, Purascharan is not started, Anushtan is not started, Homa is not done. So what you can do is that even elaborate puja is not done. So that is why the tradition used to be long back. Even now in some places it follows in Bengal, some places they don't, but they keep all the devatas covered in a piece of cloth. 2 things happen during Ambubachi. So we consider Ma Kamakhya becomes Rajaswala. But the energy is extremely powerful. And it is an energy that is to be internalized. So very good to do japa, very good to do dhyana. Very good to maintain a certain discipline if you are connecting to Ma Kamakhya. Discipline means these 4 days, as an upasak I am saying, of course, if you have your work and other office, you will have to go there. But for those who can, speak less to people. Do not engage in just frivolous chatter or going out with friends or this or that, etc. Spend the time internalizing. Do meditation, do japa. Any form of Devi, any form of Bhairava, anything. Everything gets accelerated like crazy. Anything that gets accelerated to this point is also has its own pros and cons. It has its own dangers also. But yeah, Ambubachi time, even if you are not there in the Kamakhya Kshetra at that time, but if you connect to Ma Kamakhya, that means at least one stotra of Ma Kamakhya you do every day, and if you're doing for a few months, those 4 days do not start a new sadhana. Whatever you normally do, pick anything, or simplest sadhana, quick, nothing complicated. Kichu complicated puja kora darkar nahi. Simple stuti, simple mantra that you do, any Devi form. Try and finish as much as you can. No need for doing even Sankalpa also. In Ambubachi, Sankalpa is also not needed. Anything that is done accelerates very powerfully. If someone is in Kamakhya, then it becomes very difficult. Unfortunately, today, whole world lands up in Kamakhya, which is why I try to avoid going to Kamakhya during that time, because then there's no peace. There's way too many people come to here. But yeah, it's incredibly powerful period. There is no period. What happens in Ambubachi in Kamakhya, but if you're doing sadhana, if you're not doing sadhana, then it's just a time to go see very nice looking, all people roaming around, and there are various weird sadhus coming, and you can make your good photos and all that. But the power of that place is very, very different. First Ambubachi had gone, I think 2012, if I remember. That was the first time. 20 days I had stayed, and I didn't have any money also. Just like that, I was doing sadhana and I had a thought. So Ambubachi, everything becomes very costly in Kamakhya. Normal, whatever is the price during Ambubachi, 4 to 5 times they will charge, because there's so many people booking from months ahead. They will book, and all the biggest akharas and the sadhus will come there. And I had no money. I finished my sadhana. I was supposed to return back to Mumbai, and I had this thought that you have to stay there. Randomly asked a person, and he said that actor room diye debo. He didn't charge money from me. Very basic room. Nothing was there. Just like, but yeah, at the time, so 11 o'clock in the morning, I used to go to the temple and come back at 2, 3 at night after finishing my sadhana. Different time. Energy is very different, but yes, no homas, no fire rituals. These days, I've seen people doing fire rituals. I mean, I do not think that they have the slightest clue what they're doing. See, Kamakhya has become too popular, which is good and bad both. Good because it's whoever connects to her, it's good in one way. I mean, I worship her, so if her glory goes up, I am happy. But the bad is that half the people don't know what they're doing, so all sorts of things. Yeah, Ambubachi is very powerful. It's a period when, if you are connected to Kamakhya, the same effect of a complete Purascharan can be experienced internally if one does japa in that period. Same effect of a complete Purascharan. Only thing is that the external Purascharan, Homa becomes important. Why? That is because the prayoga of the mantra outside requires fire. Without fire, the prayoga will not happen outside properly. However, internal progress happens very well during Ambubachi period.